Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the academic procession and the Chancellor.
I declare that the 612th Convocation of McMaster University for the Conferring of Degrees is now in session.
Please be seated. Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Susan Tai, and I am Provost and Vice President Academic of McMaster University. This afternoon, I have the great pleasure of acting as the Master of Ceremonies and of welcoming all of you, graduates and guests, to this convocation ceremony. On behalf of the university, I would like to recognize and acknowledge that we meet today on the traditional territories of the Mississauga and Haudenosaunee nations and within the lands protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. We must remember that we have a role in upholding the spirit of this agreement, which urged for a peaceful sharing of the Earth's resources. We must also not forget merely acknowledging our presence on these traditional lands is only a small step in our shared path to reconciliation. I challenge you to consider how you can foster reconciliation among the many peoples that inhabit these lands. I would like to start today's proceedings by acknowledging some of the notable leaders joining me on stage today. Our Chancellor, Ms. Santi Smith, President and Vice Chancellor, Dr. David Farrar, Vice Provost Faculty, Dr. Kim Dye, Assistant Vice President of Communications, Marketing and Public Affairs, Ms. Andrea Farquhar, Dean of Humanities, Dr. Pamela Sweat, associate deans, chairs, faculty members, and honored guests. Before we start our formal program, I would ask that everyone in the hall to please put your electronic devices on silence, as we don't want any unexpected rings or beeps during the ceremony. Thank you in advance for doing that. I would also like to now call upon Chancellor Ms. Santi Smith to deliver the Thanksgiving address and make her own welcoming remarks.
Niawe. Sego, sewaguego. Greetings, everyone. Watkunualado. Welcome to the Convocation of 2022. Before we begin, I would like to share the words before all else, also known as the Thanksgiving Address, since it places us in context with the living creative universe and reminds us of our interconnections and our responsibilities. Se watahosios ne gatni galiwesa ne ona ne angali hohetste ne ganawala donsula. These words of thanksgiving aim to bring our minds and hearts together to acknowledge, give thanks, affirm our interconnections, cultivate compassion and kindness, and recognize our responsibilities for sustaining and living in balance and in peace with all creation. Let us also at this time think of those who are sick, who are hurting, whose these words will offer them peace and calm in their hearts as well. Dayatinualaro ne ongwe su'a eto nayonto hoge ne niguat nigula. We give our greetings and acknowledgement to the people, our ancestors, our family, our friends, all nations. So be it our minds. Dayatinualaro ne yatini stoha johon jade eto nayonto hoge ne niguat nigula. We give thanks to our Mother Earth, for she provides us with everything that we need to thrive and survive. Now our minds are one. Daiti nualaro ne gane galunyo, eto nayonto hoge ne naguat nigula. We give acknowledgement and gratitude to the waters, from the oceans to the streams, to the waters flowing in our body. Water is life. So be it in our minds. Dayatinualaro ne gonjunk su'a, eto nayonto hage ne naguat nigula. We give thanks to the fish life who help to purify the water and provide us with nourishment. So be it in our minds. Dayatinualaro ne yotunduni, eto nayonto hage ne naguat nigula. We give thanks to all of the plants, from the grasses to the medicines that help to purify and strengthen our bodies. So be it in our minds. Dayatinualaro ne o zit no wa su'a, eto nayonto hage ne naguat nigula. We give greetings and our gratitude to all of the insects who help to pollinate the plants and provide us with beauty. Now our minds are one. Dayatinualaro ne jon hekwa, eto nayonto hage ne naguat nigula. We give thanks and acknowledgement to our sustenance foods, so be it in our minds. Dayatinualaro ne wa yariunta, eto nayonto hage ne naguat nigula. We give greetings and thanks to the fruit life who help to nourish our body, so be it in our minds. Dayatinualaro ne gonzirio, eto nayonto hage ne naguat nigula. We give gratitude and acknowledgement to the animals who help to sacrifice their lives to help sustain us and who become our teachers. Now our minds are one. Dayatinualaro ne zito ongua, eto nayonto hage ne naguat nigula. We give thanks to the birds whose beautiful singing uplift our spirit and bring peace and calm to our hearts. So be it in our minds. Dayatinualaro ne galunda ongua, eto nayonto hage ne naguat nigula. We give greetings to the trees. We cannot live without the oxygen that they provide. The roots and sap provide nourishment and cleansing for our body. So be it in our minds. Daiti nuwalaro ne zower la warnier, eto nayonto hagate ne naguat nagula. We give thanks and acknowledgement to the circulating winds who travel the earth, bringing new life and new breath. So be it in our minds. Daiti nuwalaro ne ladiwerlas, eto nayonto hagate ne naguat nagula. We give thanks to the grandfather thunderers who purify the air and awaken the earth and awaken us. So be it in our minds. Datsi tawanuwalaro ne anjangeni galakwa eto nayonto hagate ne naguat nigula. We give thanks to our eldest brother's son, who appears each morning consistently to provide us with sunshine, protection, and sustenance for all living things. So be it in our mind. Daiti nuwalaro ne asatanega wat nirale, eto nayonto hagate ne naguat nigula. We give our gratitude to Grandmother Moon for her powerful pull on our waters and connection to women and birth. So be it in our minds. Daiti nuwalaro ne yotzi sto warlunyo, eto nayonto hagate ne naguat nigula. We give thanks to the stars and the cosmos for providing us with guidance and direction. So be it in our minds. Daiti nuwalaro ne deonkiaradom, eto nayonto hagate ne naguat nigula. We give greetings and gratitude to our protectors, our spiritual guardians who help to provide clarity in our hearts and our minds. So be it in our minds. Datsi tawanuwalaro ne sungwaindeso, eto nayonto hagate ne naguat nigula. We give thanks to all of creation, the great spirit, the creative energy that lives in everything, in everywhere, and in all of us. So be it in our minds. Ta eto ni yawanage, ta eto. These shortened words of thanksgiving offer us the opportunity to harmonize our mind and our heart in humble acknowledgement of the immensity of the creative living universe, of which human beings are a very small part. It provides us with a daily context of our interdependence and responsibilities of upholding the balance with care and gratitude. And we are grateful to be here today in each other's presence to celebrate a milestone in many of the graduates' lives, in acknowledgement and celebration of all of your achievements, especially through the past challenging times of the pandemic. We're here to honor you. We're here to honor the work that has been done and to say Yoyanale, which translates in Gaingeha, the Mohawk language, to mean good job, well done. Thank you so much and welcome. As I said, Watkwanuwalado. The words I spoke were in Gaingeha, if anybody was wondering what I was saying. That's the Mohawk language from the Gaingehaga Nation. Welcome to all of you, honored guests, staff, faculty, friends, colleagues, faculty members, and most importantly, graduands. This is an exciting time for all of you graduating today, as well as for those people who've supported you along the way, who stood behind you, and who, in many cases, played a key role in you being here at this milestone event. You have achieved a great deal to get here. You should be very proud of yourself. We are proud of your success, and we look forward to your path in the future. Congratulations, and please enjoy the ceremony. Nyawe.
Thank you, Chancellor Smith. I would now like to introduce the Dean of Humanities, Dr. Pamela Sweat, to make her own welcoming remarks, and then she will present the honorary degree recipient. Dr. Sweat.
Good afternoon, Chancellor Smith, McMaster colleagues, 2022 Humanities and Arts and Science graduates, and all those in our audience today. Welcome. I was named Dean of Humanities in 2019, and today is my first in-person spring convocation. Like you, therefore, I've been waiting for this day for a very long time. And while it's natural to be feeling a bit nervous about the challenges and opportunities ahead, remember that you are ready to seize them. In the humanities and arts and sciences, our academic disciplines and our creative practices involve diverse conceptual and methodological approaches. But we all seek to understand the full range of human experiences and purposes. These practices rely on curiosity, cultivate empathy for others, and have enabled you to reflect and reason upon your own goals and values. You are therefore well prepared to become leaders in your careers and in your communities. I know I speak for all of us on the stage when I say that we are incredibly proud of what you have contributed to our institution and to your many off-campus commitments thus far. And we know you will continue to live lives of purpose in the years to come. And one other thing before I introduce our honorary degree recipient. As those of us who study the humanities know very well, none of us accomplishes our goals without the help of others, as Chancellor Smith just said. Your families and friends, mentors and coaches, teachers and classmates helped you get here, and you have recognized their support by inviting some of those special people to join you on this momentous day. In a way, this is their day too, and I wonder if we might offer them all a round of applause. And now I would like to present our honorary degree recipient, Steve Buist. Steve Buist began his career as a professional journalist in 1983. He joined the staff of the Hamilton Spectator as an assistant sports editor in 1989, following 2 years with the Burlington Spectator as a sports reporter. He was the Hamilton paper's assistant metro editor before moving into writing in 1998 as a science reporter, investigative reporter, and feature writer. He wrote a curling column for a decade and added travel feature writer to his duties in 2000. Mr. Buist is the author of the award-winning Code Red series that examine the connections between health and socioeconomic status at a neighborhood level in Hamilton. The reaction to the series led directly to the creation of a new staff position in the municipal government and was discussed at the provincial and federal levels of government and even prompted programmatic changes here at McMaster. Ultimately, the series helped transform the discussion about the impacts of poverty and income inequity in Hamilton and beyond. Mr. Buist also created the Collision Course Project, a 2-year collaboration with McMaster researchers that revealed and explored stunning levels of brain trauma in retired Canadian Football League players. Beyond his writing duties at the Spec, Mr. Buist does extensive work in media and public speaking. For 5 years, he was a regular panelist on Behind the Story on CTS television, and he has delivered more than 160 lectures, speeches, and workshops across the country, many of them related to the Code Red series. He has also taught and lectured at a number of colleges and universities, including McMaster, and contributed to several scholarly publications and presentations. Well respected within the journalism profession and by people working in the fields he explores through his reporting, Mr. Buist has served for half a decade or more on a number of advisory committees, including the Shifting Attitudes Committee with the Hamilton Roundtable for Poverty Reduction, the Independent Media Advisory Board for Evidence Network, a university-based Canadian healthcare resource, the Editorial Advisory Committee for the Registered Nurses Association of Ontario, and the judging panels for the North American Agricultural Journalist Awards and the European School of Oncology Best Cancer Reporter Award. In 2003, Mr. Buist began what is now nearly 2 decades of being Canada's most decorated investigative journalist. He has earned 30 Ontario newspaper awards, including nominations in 12 different categories. He won national awards, including 3 national newspaper awards, a gold medal from the Canadian Farm Writers Federation, 7 different awards from the Canadian Association of Journalists, and recognition from the Canadian Medical Association and the Society of Obstetricians and Gynecologists of Canada. He won the inaugural Hill Prize Canada and the Sanofi Pasteur Medal of Excellence. Internationally, he was the 2009 North American Agricultural Journalist of the Year, earned 3 different awards from the Local Media Association in 2014, and that same year was named Best Cancer Reporter by the European School of Oncology. Mr. Buist has been named Canada's Investigative Journalist of the Year 3 times and Ontario's Journalist of the Year 5 times. Chancellor Smith, I present to you Steve Buist, one of our nation's leading and most influential journalists whose commitment to his role in the Fourth Estate continues to inspire real and ongoing change in his community. I ask that you confer upon Mr. Buist the degree Doctor of Laws, honoris causa.
Steve Buist, by the authority of McMaster University Senate, I have the great pleasure to confer upon you the degree Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, in McMaster University, with all the rights and privileges pertaining to that degree. Congratulations.
Let me sign here, and then here's who will give you a speech.
I would now like to invite Dr. Buist to deliver the Convocation Address.
Okay, it's official, no backsies. So it was just last week that I discovered that this is called the Convocation Address, and that made me very nervous because it makes it sound very important. So let's get this straight right now. If you're looking for some profound, life-changing words from me, boy, are you going to be disappointed. So first off, some thanks are in order to McMaster University for bestowing on me this wonderful honor. Thank you. You have no idea how much this means to me. To the Hamilton Spectator for giving me the chance to tell interesting stories over my career. Funny story, I was hired by the Spec in 1987 by a true Scotsman by the name of John Gibson. Every year at the Ontario Newspaper Awards, John would sit at the head table, decked out in his kilt. And in 2004, I was lucky enough to be named Ontario's Journalist of the Year for the first time. And you know, everyone comes up and they're slapping you on the back and saying congratulations, and you don't really know what's going on. And John came over to me and he was pumping my hand, and he was so excited. He just kept going, that's great, oh, it's so great, oh, I'm so happy for you, oh, that's great. And I said, well, John, I bet when you hired me 17 years ago, you never thought you'd see this day. And he said, nope, no, I didn't. I'm sorry, where were we? So thanks to my parents for providing me with a stable, loving foundation to my life. My parents are here today. To Diana, yes. To Diana, the poor woman who has to put up with me. My family, my daughters, Shannon and Mallory are here today. My 2 grandchildren, Parker and Callie. To my mentor, my friend, my golfing buddy, and part-time psychologist, Jim Poling. And a big thank you to Dr. John Connolly, who very thoughtfully nominated me for this award. You know, a few years ago, as you heard, I worked with John and 2 of his grad students, Kyle and Robert, and some other McMaster researchers on this concussion project. And, you know, that was a great and important project. I wish it had gotten more attention outside of Hamilton. We were the first people anywhere, as far as we know, to study brain function and brain imaging in living retired football players. And frankly, the results we obtained were horrifying. So thank you, John, for taking a chance on me. So I'll make this quick. There will be a bunch of graduates in the audience happy and content today because you know exactly what you want to do and where your life is headed. I don't have anything to say to you people. Frankly, you people are kind of annoying. But there will be a bunch of you out there today thinking, oh, crikey, what the heck am I going to do with the rest of my life? You are the people I want to talk to, because I was once you. Once upon a time, when dinosaurs roamed the earth, I thought I was going to be a doctor, not this kind of doctor, a medical doctor. And then I discovered it was really hard work, and it was really cutting into my beer drinking time. So by accident, I fell into the job of sports editor at the University of Guelph, where I went to school. I fell into the job of sports editor at the school paper, and that was just a lark. That was something I did for beer money. You can see that there was a theme back then. I just did it for fun on the side of my schooling. I graduated from Guelph and I went off to the University of Missouri because I got a scholarship to do my grad work in neurophysiology. Sounds fancy, eh? But I was incredibly homesick, and I didn't stay long, and I skulked home with my tail between my legs. I had to wait to reapply to Canadian schools, and my job as the sports editor at the U of G paper was still open, so I decided, what the heck, I had nothing else to do. And then I was doing the job, and I realized, I kind of like doing this. So I put together more than 200 packages of my resume and samples of my work, and I sent them off to every newspaper, radio station, television station that I could find across Canada. And my package happened to land on the desk of the sports editor of the Sault Star in Sault Ste. Marie the day that one of his sports writers quit, and that was in 1983. He called me at my parents' house in Burlington, and after we were talking for a few minutes, I realized, hey, wait a second, I think this is a job interview. When we finished, I told him, I can get in my car and drive up there right now, if it helps. And he said, no, that's okay. And I thought, geez. And he said, you've got the job. I figured I'd give it a whirl, and if that didn't work, I'd just go back to grad school. I didn't even know where Sault Ste. Marie was, other than it was up north somewhere. I had to get out an atlas. No internet back then, no Google Maps. For you youngsters out there, an atlas is a book of maps, okay? You look in the legend, G5, and then you go across and you try to find the dot. Those are all your parents clapping, by the way. I remember driving up to the Soo with my mom and my brother to find a place to live. It was my first trip up there. Driving through the Garden River Reserve on the outskirts of Sault Ste. Marie, there was a train bridge there right at the side of Highway 17, and spray painted in big giant words on the side, it said, "This is Indian land." And I remember thinking, wow, we are not in Burlington anymore. My job at the Sault Star was to cover the Sioux Greyhounds of the OHL. And when you cover the Sioux Greyhounds of the OHL in Sault Ste. Marie, it's like covering the Leafs in Toronto. You're like a minor celebrity. So their coach at the time was a guy named Terry Crisp. He was a former longtime NHL player who won 2 Stanley Cups with the Philadelphia Flyers in the mid-1970s. Sometimes Crispy would put on his big, gaudy Stanley Cup rings, and the kids on the team would just ogle them and touch them. And when you're in the Sioux with the Greyhounds, you're on the bus a lot because the next closest team is 3.5 hours away. And you remember, there's no cell phones back or internet back then, so the guys were forever asking Crispy what time it was when they were getting on or off the bus. And every single time, Crispy always fired back with the same response. "It's the time of your life, kid, don't miss it." Well, you know what? He's right. I can tell you from experience that this is the time of your life. Don't miss it. And if I'm any kind of yardstick to measure yourselves by, things will work out. Someday, this could be you. Take that as either a warning or inspiration. Thank you very much.
funny, my first job offer was to go to Sault Ste. Marie as well, so I have something in common with you. Now I'd like to introduce you to President David Farrar, the president of McMaster University, who will present the graduates to the Chancellor. I also want to take this moment again to congratulate Dr. Boost. Dr. Farrar?
Will the graduands please rise? Please stand. That's when they put the lights up and we can actually see you. It's great to see you. Madam Chancellor, on behalf of McMaster University Senate, I present to you these candidates and those in absentia in order that you may confer the appropriate degrees upon them, and I bear witness that they are worthy and suitable.
Graduands, by my authority and that of the McMaster University Senate, I have the great pleasure to admit those before me today and those in absentia to their individual degrees at McMaster University, with all the rights and privileges pertaining to those degrees. My sincere congratulations to you all. Please be seated.
Graduates, I now ask each of you to join me on stage so the Chancellor and I may welcome you into the McMaster community of scholars. I would be delighted to shake your hand or to bump fists or to touch elbows or to acknowledge your accomplishments without touching. The Chancellor will acknowledge your accomplishments without touching. Congratulations.
Honored guests, so that each graduate's name may be heard, it would be appreciated if during the presentation of the graduates, you would hold your collective applause to the end of each degree category. Thank you. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Doctor of Philosophy. Melda Koshkun. Gaisha Oralova. Kalin Smith. Sandria L. Green Stewart. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Master of Arts. Mark Preston Forbes. Lillian Green. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Master of Communications Management. Stephanie Asimakis. Lindsay Autumn Emily Mackenzie. Rebecca Ashley Millick. Kyle Robert Alexander Stewart. Rachel Victoria Thiessen.
Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Arts, Honors. Zoe Fernanda Acuna Gonzalez. Fiza Ahmed. Fiza Ahmed. Suad Alad. Sumaya Alam. Iman Alavata. Bridget Zaira Alba. Olivia Anna Alberton. Mario Alice. Serena Carmela Amantangelo. Dante Anelli Connor. Chelsea Louise Angus. Daniela Ansari. Nadine Awad. Demilada Elizabeth Ayadabo. Serene Aziz. Jesse Kent Baker. Alicia Ballin. Eric Joseph Robert Beatty. Tracy Dawn Beasley Clark. Reed Quinn Bianchini. Tyler Blair. Sonia Raquel Botnick. Lauren Marlene Broders. Lauren Elizabeth Brown. Luca Buffone. Merrick Arda Butt. Paul Bozelli. Alana Caldi. Elana Villa Calamino. Darshini Challa. Derek Chan. Carly Marilyn Rose Chapman. Allison Sharon. Maya Lorraine Howe Chipovetsky. Claire Joanne Christine Church. Erin Elizabeth Clark. Avery Benjamin Cochio. Caitlin Marie Colantino. Emma Mackenzie Convey. Cooper Benton Coyle. Katie Amber Lynn Curtis. Julia Doreen Mary Cuthbertson. Kaylee Ray Cutillo. Amber Avril DaCosta. Angela Dacron. Ken Samante David. Cheryl Ann Davies. Adrian Kyle DeJesus. Claire Marie D'Souza. Robert Delmonico. Louise Danielle Dellis. Anastasia Elizabeth Deviliadis. Callista De Vera. Simran Kaur Dillon. Michaela Lucinda Duarte. Catherine Taylor Edwards. Vanessa Margaret Rose Eisel. Hannah Elashi. Christina Colleen Esposito. Savannah Grace Anona Evans. Matthew Chiro Fedson. Josie Marie Fleming. Michael Roy Sean Foster. Wilson Fung. Rowena Krista Ganeshan. Matthew Davidson Galton. Minal Ghani. Anna Maria Georgiou. Abir Goribi. Kiernan Margot Gilmore. Emily Isabella Gilruth. Leah Catherine Gouffroy. Tamara Gutich. Tia Salina Haddad. Melanie Hakim. Kezia Hacklander. Julius Stephan Halkett. Tamara Hanna. Lindsay Ray Harrison. Jessica Suzanne Herskovich. Layan Rami Hin. Yichung Audrey Ho. Alexandra Suzanne Holmes. Amanda Elizabeth Horton. Yanchi Hu. Oliver Hunt. Milky Ahmed Ibro. Savannah Marie Inacio. Vina Ismail. Arden Sarah Jacoby. Kayla Megan Johnston. Brian John Hassan Junaid. Taylor Julia Jupp. Sangwani Yolanda Kaloka. Rachel Leslie Allison Kaiserward. Sherry Lynn Kelly. Hannah Grace Kentfield. Joseph Korajian. Ramil Anto Kamro. Zrina Rafiq Kokar. Samir Habib Kondokar. Victor An Kwong. Sebastian Nicholas Kravchenko. Olivia Kirkes. Ashlyn Cara Labinas. Allison Nicole Labreche. Alisa Yusuf Leacock. Gihi Lee. Maya Madison Lee Thomas. Jordan Nicole Lefebvre. Emanuela Claire Likibi. Samantha Joy Lindy. Julia Rose Lindsay. Kylie Lloyd. Brandon Michael Logan. Daniel Zui Logan. Jennifer Marie Long. Catherine Alice Lowe. Ainsley Alicia Ivy McLeod. Carissa Carolyn Jean McKay. Livia Mann Burnett. Jessica Mathieu. Billy Joe Jane Senmeyer. Varisha Mayoran. Samantha Bryn McBride. Courtney Jane McFadden. Ella Sophie McGibbon. Megan Alexandra McLeod. Katrina Elizabeth McMullen. Marta Miklas. Christopher Andrew David Milne. Megan Grace Milne. Sami Syed Musavi. Malik Nakua. Emma Sophia Naylor. Tran Thuy Nguyen. Luca Norton. Michelle Nusi. Annika Rose Olson. Torin Ong. Liam Edward Owen. Simon Joseph Palanica. Victoria Sapphire Passalent. Quinn Henry Passmore. Pooja Patel. Hannah Christine Padi. Kiwan Moses Pereira. Raluca Teodora Petria. Christos James Stewart Pettigrew. Brianna Marie Pimenta. Kate Palessa. Grace Elizabeth Pollard. Sebastian Henry Prince. Hasina Kaderi. Maham Qasim. Roba Sameh Abda Rof. Ikhtiar Rashid. Wyatt Allen Rawlings. Benjamin Robert Ray. Katia Richard. Olivia Marie Rivet. David Robichaud. Jamie Alexandra Robinson. Alexandra Marina Rodriguez. Ma Rouge. Ramsha Salim. Caroline Marion Samworth. Alexandra Sanin. Victoria Savitsky. Alexandria Christina Sena. Michaela Caitlin Schuett. Samuel Anthony Shime. Tatiana Radmila Selgrad. Alicia Evelyn Sharp. Avista Siddiqui. Victoria Simos. Drew Sybil Simpson. Nadia Ahana Singh. Archana Sri. Jennifer Ruth K. Sterling. Rubina Subadar. Shul Sun. Bennett James Peter Swan. Maya Singh Brooke Swan. Yvonne Simiyu Syed. Isma Syed. Zaha Talibuddin. Belinda Tam. Claire Rose Tam. Giovanna Rose Tam. Bianca Elise Tarantino. Deanne Tarquinio. Rachel Sarah Taylor. Kiara Rose Tedesco. Elena Victoria Tobin. Micah Rose Therese Tamani. Ryan George Trotman. Melissa Turner. Melania Estrella Vieira. Gina Ruth Villaforte. Leah Elizabeth Vlasic. Xingqia Wang. Mackenzie Elizabeth Warner. Emily Ann Weller. Rebecca Esther White. Kayla Josephine Willis Simmons. Vivian Wong. Sarah Elizabeth Woodburn. Monica Roble. Bishia Wu. Sena Yamada. Amanda Charlene Yates. Kyle Younghusband. Jenna Deanna Zielinski. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Fine Arts Honors. Amanda Claire Elizabeth Jameson. Reese Uju Jones. Olivia Nicole Missons. Alicia Marie Morgante. Laura Trudy Mork. Hannah Rebecca Pecan. Paula Baptista Rebello. Hannah Leota Robinson. Taylor Kate Sharat. Taylor Alexandra Tabrid-Zorzek. Alexandra Emily Thomas. Anastasia Maria Velinovich. Ji Young Yoon. Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Music Honors. Joel Dominic Derek Afun. Clarissa Bizignani. Sarafina Wing-Yan Chui. Magdalena Jurovich. Shiyao Kiua Han. Duncan McCallum. David Robert Andrew Parkes. Sabrina Dolly Ramnanen. Nicholas Adam Sokalachuk. Natasha Lauren Wandell.
Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Arts and Science Honors. Rabia Ahmad. Sarun Balaranjan. Serena Balzer. Nicholas Paul Bélanger. Tessa Elizabeth Bray. Ingrid Campbell. Andrew Christopher Mansueto Canete. Henry Paul Challen, Nicole Evelyn Coxon, Isabel Maria Divalitzis, Andrew Dissanayaka, Josh Durand, Ryan Peter Edwards, Elias Ilane, Claire Jean Elchuk, Leah Faye Young Fraley, Pukaraj Gahir, Yona Deborah Grossman, Christina Nicole Hamilton, Michaela Maria Tizone Hill, Catherine Sheen Yue Hu, Evan Huang, Morgan Jail, Sophie Geraldine Leslie, Xu Jing Li, Emily Marie Laurel, Mika Jonathan Siegel Meroff, Jillian Mallory Maltz, Sophia Maria Amelia Marchetti, Zia Mawani, Faris Meklai, Julia Menezes, Haley Elizabeth Miller, Jeremiah Miller, Simon Angelo Minich, Aruba Nabir Muhammad, Rachel Louise Sharp Mergel, Ezra Nadler, Daniela Elia Pantuza, Mark Pillay, Torin Prachek, Hina Rani, Ariella Benjamin Ruby, Shanmati Shanmugam, Katerina Sementerakis, Nicole Allison Strader, Elizabeth Teschler, Hannah Sulfidis, Lizabieta Svereva,
Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Arts. Marilyn Ida Archibald. Olivia Lauren Burney. Christopher James Charters. Michael David Chop. Sarah Nixon Corrigan. William Albert Michael de Jong. Nathan Gregory Del Giudice. Abir Fahim. Nicholas Fernandez. Tiffany Billy Giroux. Carol Gerritsen. Samantha Maria Yakubczak. Taylor Stephanie Johnston. Mary Margaret Kukoski. Xinyi Liu. Nadine Martin. Juliana Marie Nickel. Madeline Nicole Alexis O'Connor. Jeremy Robert Ralphs. Lana Ida Richards. Brendan Douglas Robertson. Maggie Yashan Huang. Vikita Mehta.
Madam Chancellor, may I present to you the last of the three following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Arts in Science. Zara Fatima Panju.
Wow, what an impressive group. Let's give one last round of applause for all our graduates. Woo! Woo! We are very, very proud of you. So welcome, and you're always welcome to come to McMaster. We're so proud of you, and we're so delighted to be able to share this very special moment in your lives with you today in person. I would now like to introduce you to the valedictorian, Ms. Isabel Diavolitis, a graduate of the degree of Honors Bachelor of Arts and Science, who will be delivering the valedictorian address to us today. So please join me in welcoming her to the stage. And you're hiding right behind me now.
Good afternoon, Chancellor Smith, President and Vice Chancellor Farrar, Provost Tai, Dean of Humanities, Dr. Sweat, Director of Arts and Science, Dr. Wilson, McMaster faculty members, friends, family members, and most importantly, my fellow graduating class of 2022. Let's take a moment of reflection together. Think about how far we've come since we first stepped foot on McMaster campus. Whether we were first-year students unsure about our program in a society that prefers supposedly more useful STEM degrees, or excited to explore campus opportunities, or all the above, we now have lots of thoughts and feelings connected to where we are as our time as undergraduates has come to a close. I am extremely grateful for the opportunity to speak on the behalf of the exceptional graduates of the McMaster's Arts and Science and Humanities programs. As an arts and science student myself, and thus especially attuned to ambiguity, I can attest to the fact that our experiences in undergrad were beautifully diverse. Though we may have taken different classes, have different opinions on the best library, rest in peace Innes, and varying levels of caffeine running through our blood at all times, we do have commonalities, including what we've taken from our programs and the useful, much-needed skills we bring to the world, like empathy and an openness to multiple perspectives. We've lived in and around Hamilton, an area full of life, creativity, social engagement, and advocacy. In today's land acknowledgement, and throughout our studies, we recognize Hamilton's complex history as a place built upon the traditional territories of the Mississauga and Haudenosaunee nations. We've also realized the possibilities for new, transformed relationships with the land and with these First Peoples. We've exemplified McMaster's values of teamwork, integrity, quality, and inclusivity while being here. We've improved our reading and our writing, our critical thinking, and our independence as scholars through our courses and our interactions with professors and our classmates. Our graduating class has overcome continuous adversity. In the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, I'd like to recognize how resilient each of us has been. Some may have lost our jobs. Some may have lost loved ones to or through the pandemic, and yet here we are. Many of us also know classmates who would have been sitting with us here today, who have had to pause school, extend it, or cut their time short. We've all had to adjust to online learning, and apart from COVID, we've also been at university for the legalization of marijuana, various elections, the 2020 Black Lives Matter movement, and most recently, Russia's invasion of Ukraine. All of these events have caused ripples and possibly reevaluations of our life course. We've learned, we've grown, and we've kept going through positives and negatives. I'm so incredibly proud of us for our strength as people throughout fear, pain, failure, and more. As we step forwards from our undergraduate experience, I have utter confidence in this class. At McMaster, I have met some of the most well-rounded, thoughtful, creative, brave, and genuine people I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. Perhaps it's because of the pandemic that we really thrived in reconnecting, remembering how things were, and reimagining how they could be. Our worldview is now inevitably shaped by it, and we know we don't have to take the current structures in place for granted. They can be changed. You've each brought life to our campus over the past 4 years, whether that's a school project, a club, a sports team, or working within the community. In addition, what we do and know as art science and humanities students in particular is essential to the world. We are the ones to understand, to explain, and to reflect critically on what's going on, and our skills are the ones that are most needed to make sense of complexity and change. Who else will be brave enough to address global scale issues? Who else will bring sensitivity and comfort to conversations of community? Who else will be able to live life beyond restrictive binaries? We will. Today is about our graduation, but today is also about thanking everyone who helped us get here. Thank you to our parents, siblings, loved ones who supported us unconditionally through each semester. Thank you to our professors, teaching assistants, and advisors for your passion and invaluable advice. Thank you to the university staff and administration for rising to unprecedented challenges. Thank you to the countless student groups and clubs for fostering community in ways we never had to before. Thank you to our friends who stayed by our sides through it all. Each of those laughs, late-night study sessions, and other moments spent together were meaningful and formative. Over the past 4 years, we've started to figure ourselves out. And though we're probably not going to be done figuring ourselves out for a while, thanks to you, we've been able to grow in a loving environment. If there's any last bit of wisdom for me to impart, it's to remember that there's always the option to be kind. We each choose our own path, but the pandemic has also shown that we can't predict the future as much as we'd like to. So get comfortable in that confusion, thrive in that ambiguity, and be adaptable. Something we're all very well versed in now. I could go on a million roller coasters in a row, and maybe that would feel something like this university experience. As for what happens next, it's up to each of us. Let's take inspiration from our friends and classmates around you. Question those institutions that may seem immutable. Give someone a compliment. Topple statues, recover from your burnout. Keep your passions alive, write, create, protest, sing, play, and most importantly, live, laugh, and love. Thank you.
Thank you, Isabel, for those very inspiring words. Now I would like to call upon President Farrar, who will present the President's Award for Excellence in Student Leadership.
Would Morgan Jill please come forward? The President's Award for Excellence in Student Leadership acknowledges the contributions made by students who play a significant role in improving and developing the intellectual, social, and cultural fabric of the university community. It is my pleasure to present the President's Award for Excellence in Student Leadership to Morgan Jill. Congratulations, Morgan. I encourage you to look in the program and see all the things she's done.
Congratulations, Morgan. I'd now like to call upon Dr. Pamela Sweat, who will present the Dean's Medal for Excellence in Humanities.
Graduates and guests, may I present the winners of the Dean's Medal for Excellence in the Humanities for Outstanding Academic Achievement. It is with great pleasure that I announce that this year's recipients are Catherine Lowe, Alexandra Rodriguez, and Natasha Wandel.
I'd now like to introduce, well, first and foremost, say congratulations, ladies, well done. And then I'd like to now introduce the Director of the Arts and Science Program, Dr. Jean Wilson, who will present the Laura Dodson Prize.
Honored guests, may I present the Laura Dodson Prize for Outstanding Achievement in both Arts and Science. I'm delighted to announce that the winner of this award is Michaela Hill.
Okay, we are getting near the end. All right, now I would like to call upon Gerald Mack, a graduate of the Master of Communication Management class of 2017 and a representative of the McMaster Alumni Association. Gerald will now deliver the Alumni Association address.
Chancellor Smith, President Farrar, award winners, honorees, faculty, fellow alumni, guests, and especially members of the McMaster class of 2022. A few years ago, or a few decades from now, your memories of McMaster will be dominated by friendships, by extracurriculars, or perhaps by learning experiences that sent you on a particular path. For this class specifically, the pandemic could have played a central role in your memories, or it may become a footnote. Regardless, there's fairly a good chance that significant parts of your time as a Mac student will become what we call often the good old days. All philosophers have written about the good old days, including giants like Dolly Parton, Ziggy Mallory, Usher, Weird Al Yankovic, and probably the greatest philosopher of them all, Rick Astley. But on this topic, I prefer the wisdom of Andy Bernard on the Dunder Mifflin Paper Company, who said, "I wish there was a way to know you're in good old days before you've actually felt them." Regardless of the specific Mac memories that stick with you, regardless of how your student influences your life, I hope McMaster stays with you as part of your good old days, while at the same time playing a role in your good new days as well. Our job at the McMaster Alumni Association is to give you a variety of links to your present and the best parts of your McMaster's past. As new grads, you're also members of Mac 10, which supports alumni in the first 10 years after graduation. Whether you're looking for assistance in getting that first job or navigating your next steps in your career, the the Alumni Association offers resources, events, programs, and even alumni career counselors to assist. And as all of you are beginning your adulting period of your life, we connect you to exciting things like preferred rates on home and auto insurance, or health, dental coverage, and social events where we collectively reminisce about those good old days at Mac when we Zoomed. And even if your path takes you away from Hamilton, whether that's in Canadian centers from Victoria to Halifax or in international cities around the world, there may be McMaster alumni events and connections nearby. Just keep your contact information up to date on your alumni profile through alumni.mcmaster.ca. And we'll make sure you'll receive invitations whether there's something going on in your community. Of course, there's always a never-ending stream of events, networking opportunities, mentoring, and programming that you can access online from anywhere, live on demand when it fits your schedule. When you leave Convocation, I know my little speech will not be the most powerful memory of the day, but hopefully some echo will linger in your back of your mind where it will be ready when you are willing to connect with your university again. When that day comes, 20 or 20 years from now, we'll be here. Members of the McMaster class of 2022, congratulations on your convocation.
Okay, Michaela, we've found your award. So can you please come back? And I'd ask Dr. Jean Wilson to come back as well, and we'll present it and get a photo. This is our first of 10 convocations, so I'm sure by the end we'll have everything down to a T. Okay. So, this is for her award.
And I think
The
Chancellor presents it, yes.
Congratulations. Okay.
Congratulations. I think you have a photo.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you. See, we do pivot, so it's okay. Now I'd like to invite President and Vice Chancellor David Farrar back to the podium for the President's Address.
Chancellor Smith, distinguished guests, award winners, faculties, members of the McMaster community, members of the McMaster graduating class of 2022, friends and family. It's really good to see you in person and not as a small square on a small screen. For more than 2 years, we have had an unwelcome guest in our lives, a global pandemic that has reminded us of how fragile our lives really are and how much we need to be together. Members of the graduating class, for the last 2 years, you've worked through the isolation, disruption, and possibly health challenges and personal loss created by COVID-19. In spite of the formidable conditions for completing your degree, you persisted. So I would like to congratulate each and every one of you for your ability to adapt, thrive, and succeed. As you graduate from McMaster today, you have the opportunity to choose a vision for your own future and a vision for our planet. So the question is, what will you do with that choice, that freedom, that power? Undoubtedly, the last 2 years has given you the opportunity to reflect on what really matters to you and what your next steps might be. Today, we find ourselves facing not only the ongoing global pandemic, but an alarming decline in the strength of our democratic institutions, the acceleration of the negative impacts of climate change, an increasing gap in wealth between classes, and the possibility of widening war in Europe. The challenges seem so great, sometimes we can be overwhelmed by a feeling of powerlessness. What can we do as individuals to take on significant problems and to make a difference? Well, let me offer you 2 small examples. 50 years ago, a young social worker from Philadelphia, concerned about hunger and food insecurity that she was seeing in the low-income neighborhoods where she was working, published a small paperback book called Diet for a Small Planet, one of the original copies. Frances Moore Lepay's argument was that universal access to a healthy, sustainable diet that would provide a global springboard for a better environment, a more functional democracies, stronger economies, and increased social justice. Moore Lepay was not a vegetarian, but it seemed obvious to her that growing plants was far more effective and eco-conscious than raising animals for food. The book reflected her deep concern for our small, highly interconnected planet, and that it was failing in its responsibilities to meet the fundamental needs of people to have enough healthy food. The connection between healthy food and strong democracies may seem obvious today, but at the time of Diet for a Small Planet, it was considered radical and dangerous. Moore Lepay's ideas and arguments were attacked by the large food processing companies, by agribusinesses, and by the meat industry. At the same time, her vision was influencing a new generation of farmers, cooks, restaurateurs, the farm-to-table movement, community-supported agriculture, more sustainable farming, and organic farming can all be traced back to the revolutionary vision in this small paper book. It's now sold millions of copies and has just been released in a 50th edition. It was a vision of hope and possibility, and it called for us to act individually and together. Let me give you one more small example close to home. A few years ago, Canada's largest bakery created a sustainability team to reduce greenhouse gas emissions from its operations and to divert waste from landfills. One of the company's suppliers raised the question of the small plastic bread tag, these small red tags that you find on all the bread. The tags are so small that most people don't even think about them. But this company knew if you laid all of these small red plastic tags that they were putting around the bread bags side to side, in 1 year they would go from Vancouver to St. John's, Newfoundland, and back. That's a lot of single-use plastic. Replacing it took a lot of trial and error. They couldn't compromise the quality of the bread or they'd be generating more food waste. But eventually they came up with a bread tag made out of 100% recyclable cardboard that's both recyclable and compostable. Yeah, it's not a big change, but this month they've fully transitioned to using these small cardboard tags on their bread products, and so a small change, but a huge distance. So what will you do with your master degree? Maybe your passion will be addressing global warming, or maybe it will be in equity or social justice, or health or medicine or technology. But probably, given the pace of change, it'll be some challenge that we haven't even imagined. So how do you prepare for that? Look back at your time here at McMaster, and I hope you'll see the answer. You prepare by being curious, by being resilient, cooperative, ambitious, and determined, by challenging assumptions and focusing on facts and on making courageous choices. I encourage you, as you celebrate this important milestone, to take some time to think about your contribution to a better, brighter world. Whatever your area of study, your McMaster education has equipped you with the tools to solve critical problems and to make a difference and a positive impact on our community. I'm confident that you will take the experience and the insight of living through this pandemic, and from that, create a world worth having. And finally, when you receive your degree, you'll note that there's only one name on it. Many of my colleagues and our valedictorian have mentioned that many people helped you get to this day of your graduation. And so I encourage you to meet up with the family, friends, teachers, mentors who supported you and inspired you and cheered you on. I hope you take some time in the next little while to meet up with them. I hope you take some time to find those people who have helped you get here, was what I'd actually written. The end of your studies and the granting of your degree may feel like you're crossing a finish line, but you're actually just beginning. I wish you the very best on your journey. Welcome to the worldwide community of McMaster alumni.
Thank you, Dr. Farrar. May I invite our Chancellor, Ms. Santee Smith, back to the podium to deliver her closing address.
Nyawagoa. Thank you, President Farrar, for your address. Congratulations to the class of 2022. Let's give us a round of applause for everyone. Thank you. It's an exciting day. I'm also a McMaster alumni, and I look forward to seeing you in another 20 years because McMaster has a way of drawing us back to maintain our connections, to continue our research, and I can guarantee you'll remember this day. And personal reflection, I remember the dress that I was wearing. It was green. So those are fond memories, and you'll take those with you as you go forward. I'd like to acknowledge the accomplishments and say congratulations to Isabel, Morgan, Catherine, Alexandra, Natasha, and Michaela. Also, as Mr. Mac eloquently said, you are now all graduates and members of this wonderful alumni family. And it's important that we recognize that we are in this global family together. Dr. President David Farrar, you've given us a lot to think about in your address. And I know we'll take those words with us as we think about our future, our global future. And graduates, take those words with you as well. And I'd like to add that every decision that we make today really impacts the next 7 generations moving forward. And that's part of our Indigenous philosophy of connecting to the future to ensure that 7 generations from today will have a brighter, better future as well. Now, in closing, I have a few final announcements. A reception will be held for the Faculty of Humanities graduates and their guests in the Art Gallery of Hamilton immediately following the ceremony. Additionally, a reception will be held for Arts and Science graduates and their guests at the David Braley Health Sciences Center. I also encourage all graduates and guests to make their way up to the mezzanine level where a number of photo opportunities have been set up and outside of the Great Hall. Finally, I would ask that you please remain standing at your seats until the academic procession and the graduates have left the hall. Now please join in the singing of the national anthem, and after the singing of the anthem, this convocation stands adjourned.